Hello and welcome to lesson 6.2. Today we're going to solve two-step equations. Take a moment, pause the video, and try and solve and discuss. Here's an example of what Ty's work looks like. Did you come up with something similar? If not, let's learn. Let's look at example number 1. First thing we're going to do is we are going to look at a model to solve a two-step equation. Example number 1 says Nala and two friends spent $21 on movie tickets and a box of popcorn. How could they figure out how much each movie ticket cost? So, in the very first example here, they use this bar diagram. And with the bar diagram, they show the total spent in the top bar. They spent $21 total dollars. Then underneath, they break it down by what they know from the actual problem. Well, looking at the actual problem, they know that Nala and two friends spent $21. So they have the $21 for the total, and they know that Nala and two friends went to the movie. So they show us 3 bars that are M's. Then, looking at the box of popcorn over here, you know the popcorn is $6, so they bought 1 thing of popcorn. So, if you put that in an equation, you come up with 21 is equal to 3 times M, because there are 3 people who bought tickets, plus $6 of popcorn. 21 equals 3 times M plus 6. So, the reason they call this a two-step equation is because you have to do 2 different things in order to solve the equation. So, the very first thing that you have to do is you need to isolate the variable. Isolate the term or isolate the variable. So, in order to isolate the variable, you have to get rid of this plus 6. You have to get this plus 6 over here to the other side of the equation. I would encourage you to draw a line. Well, in order to get that plus 6 to the other side, you have to use the opposite operation, which they show you here in red. They subtract 6 from both sides. When you do this, the 6's go away on this side, and then you have to actually do the operation on the left, so 21 minus 6 is 15. So looking at this last diagram over here, you have to actually isolate the variable. So in order to get this M by itself, you have to get rid of the 3. Well, this is multiplication when you have a coefficient and a variable. Excuse me, so the opposite of multiplication is divide. So you have to divide both sides. Again, I would encourage you to draw a line. Divide both sides by 3. So M equals 5. So each movie ticket costs $5. How about you try this one? Andrew rents bowling shoes for $4. He bowls 2 games. Andrew spent a total of $22. How much was the cost of each game? So the first thing I'm going to recommend that you do is go through and highlight what are we talking about. Okay, well, we know he gets, whoops, sorry about that. I thought I was on the highlighter. Okay, so going back to the highlighter. Okay, so he rents the shoes for $4. He bowls 2 games, and he spent a total of $22. We want to know what the 2 games cost. So what we're going to do is we know he spent a total of he spent a total of $22. So we know we have 22 equal to 2 games. So we'll call it 2G for games. They use B in the bar diagram if you want to. But I'm just taking the highlighted information. And we know he paid a one-time fee of $4 for his bowling shoes. Draw a line down from your equal sign. So we want to eventually get G by itself. So first we have to deal with this plus 4. So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. So 22 minus 4 is, that's right, 18 equal to 2G. Then this is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 2, which leaves us with G equals 9. So he spent $9 per game. Let's look at example number 2. Again, the biggest thing is to highlight the important part of the information or of the problem. So John has $21.61 on a gift card. He bought some songs that each cost $1.29. Now he has $10 left. How many songs did John purchase? So he has a balance. He has a balance on the gift card of $21.61. He bought some songs. So if he's buying, we're going to subtract. And the cost of one song was $1.29. And we don't know how many songs he bought, so we have to call that a variable. But we do know the new balance is $10. So how do we get to the $10? Well, that's right. We take the original amount, $21.61, and we subtract $1.29 times D, which equals 10. So the very first thing they do is they have to get this $21.61 to the other side of the equation. So they, in red, subtract the $21.61 because this is a positive number. So the opposite of addition or the opposite of a positive number we subtract. Then they're left with negative. Notice, this minus sign never goes away from in front of this $1.29D. Okay, it's still there. It's a negative number. So in order to get D by itself, they have to divide by the negative $1.29. And when they subtract it on the other side, a positive and a negative, remember when you have 10 minus 21.61, it's a positive and a negative. So you're really going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So you subtract them and you come up with negative 1161. Then you divide a negative, see it here, a negative divided by a negative equals a positive. So he bought 9 songs. All right, let's look at another one. All it is reading the word problem and writing it out what you see. Highlight, underline, whatever you have to do. The number of trumpet players is 2 more than 1/4 of the entire band. How many students are in the band? Okay, so we know we are looking for how many students are in the band. We don't know that information, so we're going to write that as a variable. So they're going to write how many students are in the band as B. Well, it's 1/4 of the entire band, so we're going to multiply, plus 2 more. 2 more we're going to add. So what you have to do before you deal with your 1/4 b, right here, okay, they use the opposite operation to move the 2 to the other side. So opposite of plus is minus. 18 minus 2 is 16. Then they have 1/4 b. That's multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. When you're dividing a fraction, you're really multiplying by the reciprocal. So you got to flip it over. So 4 times 16, b equals 64. Is this how you set it up? The total distance of the race equals 24 laps times x. We are looking for how much each lap is, plus 0.2 kilometers is what the Christy walked to the presentation table. So the very first thing, draw your line down from your equation. Get rid of the constant that is not connected to the variable, so I subtracted the 0.2. Then after doing that, in order to get the x by itself, the opposite of multiplication is division, so I divided both sides by 24 to come up with x equals 1.225. Each lap was 1.225 kilometers long. So again, just key point, remember, draw a line down from your equation. You're using the opposite operation to solve. Get rid of whatever constants you have first, and then isolate your variable. That concludes our lesson.